Welcome back, everyone, to another exciting episode of the English Hour. I'm your host, Sophia, and today, we have a very special guest with us. Someone who's truly passionate about creativity and finding inspiration in the everyday. Please welcome Jacob.
Hey, Sophia, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
I'm so excited to have you on the show, Jacob. We've got a lot of interesting topics to discuss today, especially about creativity and how to keep that spark alive, even on tough days. But before we dive in, why don't you share a little bit about your background and what inspires you?
Absolutely. So, I've always been someone who loves to create, whether it's through writing, design, or even problem solving. For me, creativity isn't just about making art, it's about finding new ways to approach challenges and seeing the world in a different light. The inspiration can really come from anything: nature, conversations, or even a good book.
I love that. Creativity can really be found everywhere. It's not just limited to traditional forms like painting or music. It's about how we approach life and tackle problems. So, Jacob, what keeps you going on those days when inspiration feels hard to find?
Oh, that's a tough one. Some days it can feel like there's a block, right? For me, when I feel stuck, I try to switch things up. Sometimes it's as simple as taking a walk outside, or I'll do something I don't normally do, like cooking a new recipe. That little shift in routine helps reset my mind and open up space for fresh ideas.
I love the idea of switching things up. It's like giving your brain a break from the usual flow, allowing it to find new connections. I imagine that's especially helpful when you've been working on a specific project for a while and need a little breather to spark creativity.
Exactly. When you're too deep into something, it's easy to get lost in the details and forget the bigger picture. Stepping away, even just for a little while, gives you that opportunity to look at things from a different angle. Sometimes, it's those moments of clarity that lead to the best breakthroughs.
So true. And that reminds me of something I've heard before. Creativity is not a lightning bolt. It's a process. It's not always about waiting for a big moment of inspiration. It's about consistently showing up and being open to what comes. Right?
Absolutely. It's easy to think that creativity should come in sudden bursts, but in reality, it's more about patience and persistence. If you keep showing up, even on days when you don't feel particularly inspired, you might surprise yourself with something great.
Yes. And that's where the magic lies, just being present, even when you don't feel 100% ready. I think a lot of people get discouraged by those off days. But really, it's all part of the process. It's those small steps that lead to bigger creative moments.
Exactly, and sometimes that small step is just writing down a thought or doodling something random. Even if you don't think it's great at first, it gets the creative juices flowing, and you never know where it might lead.
Oh, I love that. It's like building momentum, little by little. And what you create doesn't always have to be perfect in the beginning. It's about allowing yourself to experiment and fail, then learn from that.
Right? I think perfectionism is one of the biggest barriers to creativity. If you're constantly worried about making something perfect, you never actually get started. It's about embracing the messy process and trusting that things will evolve along the way.
Absolutely. The fear of making mistakes often holds people back from starting at all. But the truth is, every mistake is just another step forward in learning and growing. Creativity doesn't thrive in perfection, it thrives in the process.
Exactly. I think that's something a lot of people forget. When they first start a creative endeavor, they want it to be perfect right out of the gate. But the more you create, the more you realize that imperfection is what makes things interesting.
So true. Every flaw adds character and uniqueness to what you're creating. It's what makes it your own. And even though it might feel daunting at first, it's all part of the journey.
Yep. And that's where I think the real joy of creativity comes from, when you start to embrace the unexpected and see the beauty in the process, rather than focusing only on the end result.
I love how you put that, Jacob. It's all about the journey, not just the destination. It's about enjoying the ride, learning as you go, and celebrating every step forward, no matter how small.
Exactly. And you know what, Sophia? That mindset can be applied to so much more than just creative work. It applies to life in general, embracing the process, staying open to the unexpected, and trusting that things will unfold as they should.
I couldn't agree more. Life is messy, and so is creativity, but that's what makes it so exciting and worthwhile. It's all about finding joy in the journey and learning along the way.
Exactly. So, if anyone out there is listening and feeling a little stuck or discouraged, remember this: don't let the fear of imperfection stop you from creating. Every step forward is progress, and the more you allow yourself to make mistakes, the closer you get to finding your true creative voice.
That's such great advice, Jacob. And to anyone out there struggling to find their spark, I hope today's conversation has inspired you to keep going and embrace the process, no matter where you are right now.
I hope so too. Just remember, you don't need to have everything figured out right away. Take it one step at a time and let the creativity flow.
Exactly. Thank you so much for being here today, Jacob. It's been such a great conversation, and I know our listeners will be inspired by everything we've talked about.
Thank you, Sophia. It's been a pleasure. I've loved every minute of this.
And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in once again. Keep embracing the messy, beautiful process of creativity, and we'll see you in the next episode of the English Hour. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Jacob, before we go any further, I want to dive into something that a lot of people struggle with: finding the right balance between creativity and productivity. Do you ever find that hard to balance, especially with everything going on in life?
Oh, definitely. That's one of the hardest things I've had to figure out. There's always this tension between wanting to be productive and feeling like you should be working on your creative projects. Sometimes I feel like I'm either overworking myself or not giving my creativity enough space to breathe.
That's such a good point. It's like you want to be efficient and get things done, but at the same time, creativity doesn't always thrive on a tight schedule. How do you manage to make room for both?
For me, it's about setting clear boundaries. I've learned to dedicate certain hours of my day just for creative work, no distractions, no pressure to get anything perfect. And then I also have blocks of time where I'm focused on being productive in a different way, like doing admin work or tackling my to-do list.
That sounds like a great strategy. It's like separating your creative time from your work time so that you can give each the attention it deserves without feeling overwhelmed.
Exactly. And I also allow myself to not be productive sometimes. Creativity needs a bit of freedom, and if I'm constantly trying to be productive, I'll burn out. So, taking breaks, whether it's going for a walk, reading a book, or doing something completely different, has been key for me.
I love that. Giving yourself permission to rest and not be productive all the time is such an important lesson. I think we live in a world where we're constantly told to hustle, but creativity really thrives when we allow ourselves to step back and recharge.
100%. Sometimes it's that time off that makes all the difference. I'll come back from a break, and suddenly ideas are flowing more freely. The mind needs space to relax and just let things happen naturally.
That's so true. It's like when you stop forcing it, it just flows better. Have you ever had moments where you felt stuck in your work, but then something unexpected helped you break free?
Oh, for sure. I remember one time I was working on a project for a client and just couldn't get the design right. I spent hours staring at the screen, frustrated. I ended up taking a walk, just clearing my head. Then, on the walk, I passed this building with such an interesting texture on its wall, and bam, I had an idea. It was so random, but it turned out to be the perfect solution for the project.
That's amazing. Sometimes, the best ideas come from the most unexpected places, don't they?
Yes, I think that's the beauty of creativity. It's not something that can be forced. It's almost like it finds you when you stop looking so hard for it. The key is being open and aware of the little things around you.
I completely agree. It's about being in the right mindset to absorb inspiration wherever you are. I think a lot of people get frustrated because they expect creativity to come at a specific time. But it's so much more organic than that.
Right, it's definitely not something that can be scheduled. Some of my best ideas have come to me when I wasn't even trying. It's those spontaneous moments that often lead to the most original work.
Absolutely. And when you stop putting so much pressure on yourself, you're able to enjoy the process more. So, Jacob, do you think there's a difference between inspired creativity and disciplined creativity? How do you find the balance between both?
That's a great question. I think inspired creativity is the spontaneous stuff, those moments when an idea hits you out of nowhere. But disciplined creativity is when you sit down, even when you're not feeling inspired, and you work through the process. I think the best results come when you combine both. You need that discipline to push through the tough moments, but you also need to leave room for inspiration to strike when it does.
That's such an interesting way to put it. It's like creativity has two sides: the spark of inspiration and the consistency of discipline. And both are important in different ways.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people forget the discipline part. It's easy to wait for inspiration to show up, but sometimes you have to show up first. The act of creating, even when you don't feel like it, can help unlock that inspiration.
That's a great insight. So, even on those days when you're not feeling 100%, you still show up and do the work, knowing that inspiration might follow once you get started.
Yes, exactly. It's like a muscle. Creativity needs to be exercised regularly to stay sharp. The more you create, the more you give your brain the opportunity to come up with new ideas, even on the days when it feels tough.
That's such a powerful analogy. Creativity is like a muscle that needs consistent exercise. And the more you push yourself, the stronger that creative muscle gets.
Absolutely, and even when it feels like you're not making progress, every bit of work adds to that muscle, and eventually you start seeing the results.
I think that's such a valuable takeaway. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned creative, it's about showing up, doing the work, and letting the creativity flow at its own pace.
Exactly, so to anyone listening, just remember, don't wait for the perfect moment. Create even when it feels hard, and trust that your creativity will grow the more you put in the effort.
That's such a great reminder, Jacob. Thank you again for being here today and sharing all your wisdom with us. It's been such a great conversation.
Thank you for having me, Sophia. I've really enjoyed it.
And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Remember to keep creating, stay disciplined, and always leave room for inspiration to surprise you. We'll be back again soon with more tips and inspiration on the English R. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Before we end today's episode, I have one more question for you, Jacob. It's something a lot of creatives wonder: how do you handle failure or creative blocks? What's your approach to bouncing back?
Oh, that's a big one. Creative blocks can be frustrating, especially when you feel like you're not making any progress. For me, I've learned that failure is part of the process. I try to look at it as a learning opportunity. Instead of getting stuck in the frustration, I ask myself, what can I learn from this? Or how can I adjust my approach?
That's such a healthy mindset to have. It's so easy to get caught up in feeling like a failure. But really, every setback can teach us something. Do you ever take breaks during those tough times?
Absolutely. I've found that forcing myself to keep going when I'm in a slump doesn't usually work. Sometimes, I just need to step away for a bit, whether it's going outside for fresh air, playing a game, or watching something unrelated to work. Taking that time to reset helps me come back with a clearer mind.
I think that's something a lot of creatives overlook: the power of taking a break. It's easy to feel like we have to power through every challenge, but stepping away often brings us the clarity we need. Do you have any other strategies that help you through those tough moments?
One thing that really helps me is talking things out with others. Sometimes I get stuck in my own head and need an outside perspective. Talking to someone I trust, whether it's a friend or a colleague, often sparks new ideas or helps me see things from a different angle.
That's a great point. Sometimes, just expressing your thoughts out loud can lead to breakthroughs. It's amazing how much a fresh perspective can shift things. Do you ever collaborate with other creatives?
I do, and I love it. Collaboration is one of the best ways to push through creative blocks. When you work with someone else, you bring in new ideas, and it can push you to think in ways you might not have on your own. Plus, it's a great way to keep the energy up. You can bounce ideas off each other and share the excitement.
It sounds like collaboration really brings out the best in you. It's true, working with others helps you grow as a creative because you're exposed to different ways of thinking. Have you ever had a collaboration that really stood out to you?
Oh, for sure, one of my favorite collaborations was with a writer I worked with on a project. We were designing a book cover together, and we had completely different approaches. I was more focused on the visual elements, and they were deep into the story and symbolism. At first, it felt challenging, but once we started combining our ideas, the final result was something way better than what I could have done on my own. It was a perfect balance of both our strengths.
That's such an awesome experience. It's like two different skill sets coming together to create something much greater. Do you think there's something special about the energy that collaboration brings?
Absolutely. It's that shared energy that can propel a project forward. When you're on your own, you can get lost in your head and feel like you're not making progress. But when you're working with someone else, that energy becomes contagious. You feed off each other's enthusiasm, and the creative process becomes way more dynamic.
I totally agree. There's something about bouncing ideas back and forth that helps everything flow. It keeps the momentum going. Plus, you get to learn from each other's strengths. Is there a particular project that you're really excited about right now?
Yes, I'm working on a digital art project that blends photography with 3D elements. It's something I've never done before, so it's definitely pushing me out of my comfort zone. But I'm excited because it's allowing me to experiment with different techniques, and I can already see the potential it has.
That sounds like an incredible project. It's always so exciting to take on something new and challenge yourself. What's been the biggest challenge so far with that project?
The biggest challenge has been getting the 3D elements to mesh seamlessly with the photography. It's tricky to get the lighting, shadows, and textures to match up perfectly, so it looks like the 3D elements belong in the photo. But it's also been really rewarding, because every time I figure out a new technique, it feels like a small victory.
I can imagine. That kind of challenge can be both frustrating and incredibly rewarding. It must be satisfying when everything starts coming together. How do you stay motivated when things feel tough?
It's definitely tough at times, but I try to remind myself why I started in the first place. The idea of creating something new and pushing my boundaries keeps me going. Plus, seeing the progress, even if it's small, helps keep the momentum up. Sometimes I'll look back at my past work and remind myself how much I've grown. That always helps me push through the tough spots.
That's such a great reminder. Progress, no matter how small, is still progress. It's easy to forget how far we've come when we're stuck in the middle of a challenging project. Looking back can really put things into perspective.
Exactly, it's all about celebrating the small wins. Even if it's something simple like getting a small section of the project, right? It helps build the confidence to keep moving forward.
I love that. Small wins lead to big achievements. It's important to acknowledge those little victories, especially when the bigger picture feels overwhelming.
Absolutely. I think that's a mindset that every creative should adopt. It's not about perfection, it's about growth, learning, and enjoying the journey. Every step forward counts.
That's such a powerful mindset. Thanks for sharing that, Jacob. I think that's a lesson we can all apply to our own creative processes. And I hope our listeners take that away today.
I hope so too. Creativity isn't about being perfect, it's about being persistent, staying curious, and always learning.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, it's been an incredible conversation, Jacob. Thanks for taking the time to chat with me today.
Thank you for having me, Sophia. This was really fun.
And to our listeners, Thank you for joining us on the English Hour. Remember, embrace your creativity, celebrate the small wins, and keep moving forward. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you again next time. I'm glad you're enjoying the conversation, Jacob. It's been amazing so far. But before we go, I have a fun question for you. If you could collaborate with anyone, living or dead, on a creative project, who would it be and why?
Wow, that's a tough one. There are so many people I'd love to collaborate with. But if I had to choose, I'd say Salvador Dali. His approach to surrealism and his ability to blend the bizarre with reality is something I've always admired. I think working with him would push me to think outside of the box in ways I can't even imagine.
Oh, that's a brilliant choice. Dali's work is mind-bending, and his creativity knew no bounds. I can only imagine the kind of wild ideas you two could come up with together. What aspect of his work do you think would challenge you the most?
I think the biggest challenge would be to let go of conventional thinking and embrace absurdity. Dali wasn't afraid to push boundaries, and sometimes, as creatives, we get caught up in following rules. Working with someone like Dali would definitely force me to let go of those constraints and explore a new realm of creativity.
That's such a good point. Sometimes, the rules we create for ourselves limit our creativity, and breaking free from those boundaries can lead to amazing results. What would you want the project to be about, though? What kind of collaboration do you envision with Dali?
I would love to create a series that blends photography with surrealist elements, almost like a dreamscape. I think we could take everyday scenes and simple things like a street corner or a coffee cup and transform them into these otherworldly visions. The goal would be to challenge the viewer's perception of reality, making them see the ordinary in an extraordinary way.
That would be amazing. There's something so captivating about that idea. It's like turning the mundane into something mesmerizing. And I think you'd both bring such unique perspectives to the table. Now, just thinking about your own creative process, how do you manage the overwhelming feeling that can sometimes come with starting something new?
Honestly, it can be really tough. Starting something new always feels like jumping into the unknown. But I've found that breaking things down into smaller tasks helps. Instead of focusing on the whole project, I look at it step by step. What do I need to accomplish first, and then what comes next? That way, it doesn't feel so overwhelming. I also try to remind myself that not every step has to be perfect.
That's a really smart approach. Breaking it down into smaller, more manageable steps makes the entire process feel less intimidating. It's so easy to get caught up in thinking about the end result. But focusing on the process one step at a time can make it so much more achievable.
Exactly. And I also try to stay patient with myself. It's easy to want everything to come together right away, but sometimes the best ideas take time to develop. So I try to be patient and allow myself the time to experiment.
Patience is key, for sure. Sometimes, we rush the process because we want to see results quickly. But creativity doesn't always work that way. It's all about giving yourself the space to explore and evolve.
Yeah, and I think that's where the fun lies too. Creativity isn't just about reaching a destination, it's about enjoying the journey. The process itself has so much to offer.
Absolutely. It's so easy to forget that part, especially when we're focused on the end result. But the journey really is the heart of it all. So, with that in mind, what's next for you? What are you working on now that you're most excited about?
Right now, I'm diving deeper into virtual reality art. I've always been interested in immersive experiences, and I'm experimenting with how to blend the virtual and real worlds through art. It's definitely a bit of a challenge, but it's exciting because it's pushing me to learn new technologies and expand my creative boundaries.
That sounds incredible. VR is such an exciting frontier for creatives. The possibilities are endless. When you think about blending the digital with the physical world, what's the biggest challenge you've encountered so far with VR art?
The biggest challenge has been figuring out how to make the experience intuitive for the user. When you're creating something that people are going to interact with, in a virtual space, you want it to feel natural and engaging. Getting the right balance between technology and artistry has been a bit tricky, but I'm learning a lot through trial and error.
That's definitely a fascinating challenge, but it's so rewarding when you get it right. VR art is all about creating that immersive experience. Once you figure out that balance, it'll open up a whole new world of possibilities for your work.
I agree, it's all about finding that sweet spot where technology and creativity come together. I'm excited to see where this journey takes me.
I'm excited for you. It sounds like you're venturing into a whole new realm of creativity. And knowing you, I'm sure you'll do some incredible things with it. I can't wait to see where this VR journey takes you.
Thanks, Sophia. I appreciate the encouragement. I'm definitely looking forward to what's next.
And we're looking forward to seeing it too. Thanks again for being here today, Jacob. Your insights are always so inspiring. And I'm sure our listeners are feeling motivated too.
It's always a pleasure to chat with you, Sophia. Thanks for having me.
And thank you to everyone listening. Remember to keep pushing your creative boundaries, try new things, and never stop experimenting. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time on the English Hour. Before we wrap up, Jacob, I have to ask if you could give one piece of advice to aspiring artists or creatives out there, what would it be?
That's a great question. I would say don't be afraid to fail. In fact, embrace failure as part of the process. Sometimes we're so scared of getting things wrong that we don't even try. But every failed attempt teaches you something valuable, and it's through those mistakes that you grow. So keep experimenting, keep pushing, and don't get discouraged when things don't go as planned.
I love that. It's so easy to get caught up in the fear of failure, but it's such an important part of the creative process. I think people forget that failure isn't the end, it's just a stepping stone to success.
Exactly. And it's also about being kind to yourself along the way. Creative work can be a roller coaster of highs and lows, but being patient with yourself helps you navigate those ups and downs. You'll find that the more you embrace your mistakes and learn from them, the more you grow as a creator.
That's such powerful advice. I think a lot of people forget to be kind to themselves, especially in a world that's so focused on perfection. The journey is just as important as the destination, and being kind to yourself along the way makes the process a lot more enjoyable.
It really does. And one more thing I'd add is to always keep your curiosity alive. When you stop asking questions and seeking new experiences, that's when you start to stagnate. Curiosity fuels creativity, so stay curious, stay open, and keep exploring the world around you.
That's amazing advice, Jacob. Curiosity is the heart of creativity, and it's so important to nurture it. It's what keeps us growing and discovering new things. I think our listeners will really take that to heart.
I hope so. I think curiosity can lead to some of the most incredible creative breakthroughs. You never know where it might take you.
Exactly, and speaking of discovery, what's something new that you've learned recently, whether in your creative journey or just in life, that has really stuck with you?
That's a great question. I think one thing I've been really reflecting on lately is the importance of presence. Sometimes we're so focused on the end goal or what's coming next that we forget to really be present in the moment. Whether it's during a creative process or just in life, being fully engaged with what's happening right now has opened up new layers of inspiration for me. I think we often overlook how much power there is in simply being present.
That's such a beautiful realization. I think a lot of us can get caught up in the hustle and bustle of life, always looking ahead and forgetting to appreciate the present. But I agree, being in the moment is where the magic happens. It's where creativity flows freely.
Absolutely. It's when we're present that we can really observe, take in the world around us, and let those details inspire us. Sometimes, it's the smallest things that spark the biggest ideas.
So true. Inspiration is all around us, in the little moments and the details we might otherwise overlook. It's such a reminder to slow down and appreciate everything happening in the present.
Definitely. And it also helps with stress. When you're not constantly thinking about what's next, you can just enjoy what's right in front of you. That's when creativity becomes less about forcing it and more about allowing it to flow naturally.
It's amazing how something so simple can be so impactful. It's all about balance, pushing yourself to create, but also allowing space for relaxation and mindfulness.
Exactly, and I think that balance is something a lot of creators struggle with. It's easy to get overwhelmed by deadlines and expectations, but sometimes stepping back and embracing the moment can lead to some of your best work.
It's a perfect reminder for all of us, especially in this fast-paced world we live in. Whether it's taking time for ourselves or enjoying the small things, there's so much value in simply being present.
Definitely. So, to anyone listening out there, I'd say take a breath, be present, and trust that creativity will follow.
What a beautiful note to end on. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today, Jacob. Your journey and advice are truly inspiring, and I'm sure our listeners will take away so much from this conversation.
Thank you, Sophia. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. I hope everyone listening finds something that resonates with them and inspires them to keep pushing their creative boundaries.
I'm sure they will. And to everyone listening, remember, creativity is a journey, not a destination. Embrace the process, be kind to yourselves, and stay curious. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time on the English Hour. Before we end, Jacob, one last thing I want to ask you. What's something exciting you're working on right now? Anything that's keeping you inspired?
Oh, definitely. I'm actually in the middle of a project that's really close to my heart. I'm working on a collaborative art piece with a few other creators. It's been such a creative journey because it's not just about my vision anymore. It's about merging different perspectives into one. It's challenging but so rewarding. Every conversation, every new idea adds something unexpected and exciting to the mix.
That sounds amazing. Collaborations always seem to bring out something special in the process. It's like you're creating something bigger than yourself, and the collective energy just makes it more dynamic.
Exactly. And what's really cool is that it's been pushing me outside of my comfort zone. I've had to experiment with techniques I wouldn't usually try, which has been both intimidating and exciting. Sometimes, it's those risks that lead to the best results.
I couldn't agree more. Growth usually happens when we step out of our comfort zones. And I bet this project is going to be something really special. I can't wait to hear more about it as it progresses.
Thanks, Sophia. I'm sure I'll have plenty to share once it's finished. But for now, it's all about pushing the boundaries of what I can do, and it's really keeping me inspired.
That's so exciting to hear. And I think your story is a perfect example of why it's so important to embrace new experiences and challenges. It's what keeps the creative spark alive.
For sure. And I hope our listeners can take that same energy and apply it to their own journeys, whatever they might be. Whether you're an artist, a writer, or just someone exploring a new hobby, don't be afraid to dive in and explore the unknown.
That's exactly it. Don't be afraid to explore, experiment, and fail along the way. It's all part of the process.
Absolutely. It's the messy, imperfect moments that often lead to the most beautiful creations. So, to anyone listening, keep going, keep trying new things, and don't ever stop exploring your creativity.
What a perfect message to leave everyone with. Thanks again for joining me today, Jacob. It's been such a pleasure talking with you. And I know our listeners are going to love this episode.
Thank you, Sophia. It's been so fun. I hope everyone enjoys this conversation, and I'm looking forward to hearing how it resonates with them.
I'm sure it will. And to all of our listeners, remember to stay curious, stay creative, and always keep pushing the boundaries of what you can do. If you liked this episode, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time on the English Hour.
Until next time, everyone, keep creating,